Greetings, Earth people of the Stradella gender. I decided to expand on the reed recognition topic because, one, I can give my back a little more time to heal. That is, I won't have to pick up the accordion. And two, when I did the previous video, I was concerned that no one would really care about the topic itself. I mean, the average accordion student or beginner probably doesn't care what goes on inside the accordion. Thing is, this is the information age. We can go on the internet and access almost any sort of data. Almost all ideas and concepts are shared these days. So I figured, if I'm the only guy on the planet who actually has a system for identifying which reeds are actually being used and which exact tones at specific pitches are being heard or at least perceived, then I should share the system. I mean, who knows? I could drop over dead tomorrow, so this really nice idea would be lost. Of course, until someone else pulls it up out of his or her brain and presents it to the world. But what are the chances of that happening? Who knows? So this video will be the primer for the next video. The one in which I go through my system step by step. That's how it works, step by step. That keeps it simple and clear. I call this system Stradella reed recognition. You got a sample of that in the previous video. I used, for my example in that video, the G major chord, the simplest chord you can play on a Stradella bass, unless you just play a single major or minor chord button without using a bass button. Now that would be as simple as it gets. So, first, let's review some key concepts that should be understood before I actually demonstrate another chord. That would be this one. The chord analysis you see here is the one I'll be doing in the next video. This chord is a C minor 11. I actually used a minor 11 chord in a previous video. That was the E minor 11, and I showed you how to play it. This chord just happens to be a C chord. That's no big deal. Okay, switches. When you choose a register switch on your accordion on the left side, you're actually choosing specific reed set combinations. Those reed sets will be ready and available to sound your tones until you click on another switch. Let's use the ACTB reed set switch again for our example. We're going to use it today just as I go through this, and tomorrow when I do the actual serious detailed video. With this reed set, when you push, let's say, the C bass button, every tone in each reed set will sound. That is, there is a C tone in each of the 4 reed sets, and when you push that bass button or the C counter bass button, all of the C's that are available will sound. All of them. Now this is important because multiple bass tones should sound for each button. If they did not sound all at once, then there's a good chance that the chord buttons, each of the chord buttons will make 3 tones sound at one time. So there's a good chance, if you didn't have the multiple bass tones sounding, that the chord buttons might drown out the bass tone. You see? We don't want that. Now, when you push, let's say the C major chord button, or any major chord button, the bass and tenor reed sets will not respond. Only, and I must stress this, only the contralto, alto, and soprano reed sets will respond when you press that chord button. Understand? If you don't get it, rewind the video and give it some thought. Eventually it'll click and boom, you're good to go. In my Stradella reed recognition system, we move step by step. First, step 1. We determine which tones are being sounded when you play the bass chord button combinations. If you haven't memorized which exact tones are sounded by each button, then just go ahead and use your handy chart. That's that chart I showed you before. You can find this chart on the internet. Go to Google Images, or maybe you might even have one of these charts in the back of one of your accordion instruction books if you're a beginner. Might have a chart in the back. Either way, you must determine which tones will be activated by those buttons. In other words, all tones. You got to determine all the tones. Step 2. You must determine which tones are activated or sounded by each register. Okay? In the previous video, can you see that? I showed you this paper, all right, in the previous video. Now, this is a handy paper. It'll show you how any given chord will sound in a given reed set, okay? The chord inversion, now you got to study inversions on your own. Okay, the chord inversions will be the same in the bass, tenor, alto, and soprano reed sets. Because why? They all start on the C and end on the B. All right, so your 3 tones for your chords, whatever it might be, are going to be positioned the same in these 1, 2, 3, 4 reed sets. But you see in the contralto reed set, all right, it starts on F sharp 3 and goes up to F4. So the way the chord's positioned, the way it's structured, is going to be different here in the contralto reed set. Okay, now you got to figure this out in your brain, study this on your own, and bring you up to speed. Like, you can always pause the video or replay it, 100 times. So that's very important. So, step by step then. Step 3, we have to list all of the tones on your graph, whether it be paper, whiteboard, whatever, noting the lowest pitch tone on the left side of your graph, then working upward in pitch, ending up, notice the highest pitch tone or tones on the right side of your graph. It's like the piano keyboard. The lowest tones are on the left, the highest are on the right. I found this to be the easiest way to visualize the reeds. See, you're visualizing the reeds here because you can't see inside the accordion. Well, actually, some people do. I take my accordion apart once in a while and look inside and can see kind of what's going on, but most people would never take their accordion apart. Okay, now you did that. That was step 3. Step 4, you'll indicate the button shared duplicates. You will indicate the button shared duplicates. You can see clearly here that I have marked the button shared duplicates. I use a short red line, all right? These button shared duplicates are the reeds that are shared by 2 or more buttons. You see this, in this example, which we'll do tomorrow, not now, the B flat major chord button and the E flat major chord button will use the B flat 3 contralto reed, and they will also share the B flat 4 alto reed. We'll do that tomorrow. So step 4, you indicate the button shared duplicates so you can see them clearly. That's why I use different colors for you guys, because guys and girls, so that you can see it clearly. Step 5, you must indicate the intra-group duplicates. For example, if you had one chord button causing a D4 to be sounded in the contralto reed set and a D4 to be sounded on the alto reed set, those two D4s would be considered an intra-group duplicate. That is, two reeds of the exact same pitch are being sounded, but your ear likely won't be able to tell the difference, except for a few weirdos who have super duper hearing. My hearing's excellent, but I don't have super duper hearing. Step 6. This is the fun part. Step 6. You'll use one of two procedures to determine which tones at specific pitches are being heard, or at least being perceived. This is a touchy area to figure out in the brain, but only until you fully understand this reed recognition system, only until you start to intuitively catch on to what's going on inside the accordion, inside that bass machine. So, remember, step 6, we want to determine which tones at specific pitches are going on. So, procedure 1, you could use the isolate tones method here, okay? Use the isolate tones method by simply drawing lines, all right, on your graph. I showed this on the previous video, but I'll go over this also on the next video. That's isolate tones method. You just draw lines between specific pitches. We'll get to that. Now the other procedure, procedure 2, is you can use the subtraction method. I showed you this in the previous video as well, but I'll go over this in the next video and make it perfectly clear. Having performed those 6 steps, you will then clearly see which reeds are actually being heard and why they are or are not being heard or perceived. Then boom, you're done. I'll demonstrate that stuff in great detail in the next video. Like I said, the first time I did this in the previous video, I didn't think anybody really cared. But, you know, we want to throw this out into the batch of knowledge and the batch of stuff out in the world, because people might like it. They might think it's crap and it's wrong and might trash the idea. But if it works, if it's true and it's good, then they'll accept it. They might accept it and possibly even make it better. So that's pretty cool. So that's it for video 5B. I'll do 5C next. After that, you'll be able to do this on your own, and I shouldn't have to bring it up again. So that's it. I'm done, and I hope to see you in video 5C, Earth People of the Stradella Gender. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.